Capsimax is a unique weight loss formulation. Could you tell us how it works?
Capsimax is a trademark nutrient, which essentially is a capsaicinoid with a novel encapsulation technology that allows for digestion and absorption of the nutrients into the system without any potential, burning or gastric or GI sort of upset.
Okay, well that's good.
That's one of the potential side effects
because it
that
comes
you see.
from the chili peppers, right?
It does, and essentially it would be similar to an extract that you may find in something like pepper spray. So it's hot stuff.
That's potent, yes.
And what we find is that if you look at the literature, oftentimes from an adverse events, reporting point of view, there's some evidence that it may cause some GI upset. So if individuals had an intolerance to consuming hot spices, this probably wouldn't be the ideal thing for them. But this Capsimax has a coating and an encapsulation process such that it minimizes the GI upset and the GI burning that an individual may feel upon consumption. And that's based on the OmniActive health technologies that's putting forth this particular branded ingredient.
Okay.
Now, in terms of a mechanism as to how it would work, it would be, again, similar to as we discussed before. These capsaicinoids can minimize appetite. They can stimulate an increase in energy expenditure or thermogenesis, and they can also increase lipolysis or the mobilization of fat into the circulation to be used as a potential fuel source. And that's important for individuals, of course, that are wanting to, number one, lose weight from an energy expenditure point of view, but secondary to that, individuals who are interested in losing, body fat. Because if we can allow for mobilization of fat, especially if we're exercising in conjunction with potential use of something like this, we may see a decrease in the percentage of body fat. Now, admittedly, these are statements being made based on the acute studies showing an increase in expenditure, an increase in fat mobilization or fatty acid oxidation. I have not seen studies, or a significant number of studies anyway, that would provide strong evidence indicating that if you use this in conjunction with exercise or as part of a plan over the course of several months, that you're going to be leaner as a result of that. It's possible, but again, we would need those studies for confirmation.
But it can stimulate weight loss.
In the laboratory acute studies, it has been shown to do that, not in terms of weight loss, but energy expenditure. So we assume that if we expend an extra 50 calories per day or an extra 100 calories per day, upon taking this nutrient, once or twice or 3 times a day or however often you're going to take it, that over the course of time, if it maintained its effectiveness, that over the course of time, all things being equal, on paper, a person would lose X number of pounds over the course of the year. So that's where, we're going from a laboratory study in which we have evidence and we're making some assumptions based on that. Theoretically, this should lead to this. And physiologically, it should lead to that. But before I make that statement with confidence, I'd want to see the evidence that shows that it does, in fact, lead to that.
But you have very many promising studies that you have.
I think there's enough evidence from an acute point of view that would lead us to believe that it likely would be effective over the course of time, assuming a person consumed it at the right dose and assuming that they did not see any sort of decrease in effectiveness over repeated use.
Okay.
Sure.
Like building up a tolerance to it.
Exactly. In which case, if they did, they may need more. My concern is that if they put in more, number one, it's going to cost them more. And number two, they may not be able to tolerate, more of that same nutrient.
But it shows a lot of promise.
It does. It's interesting.
Thank you.
Sure.